Today we are going to make cranberry white chocolate scones with orange icing. We're going to start with half a cup of butter or margarine. Cube it all up because it's cold and it's still hard. And you're going to put that into your mixer. You can do this by hand as well with one of those pastry blenders, but I like to do it in my mixer. I'm going to add in 2.5 cups of flour and 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. You're just going to get these first ingredients in here and you want them to mix and crumble together. So we're going to mix this on low for a minute and I'll show you what that should look like once it's mixed up a little bit. Or you could be doing this by hand with one of those pastry blenders. So we're going to just mix this up, give it a couple minutes and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I mixed it for a couple minutes on medium. Just wanted to get rid of most of the really big clumps of butter that are in there. This is good enough because we have to add all our wet ingredients yet. We just wanted to break up that margarine a little bit or butter in there so that it's a little bit crumbly. And we're going to now add in, this is where you're going to get all the fun stuff. I have 1 cup of dried cranberries and a cup of white chocolate chips. You can use white chocolate chunks. I think the original recipe called for half a cup. You can never use enough of that. So I put in 1 cup because it just spreads it out nicely through the whole scone. So we're just going to mix these in here a minute so that they are mixed in with the flour and coating the cranberries so that they'll nicely stay in place when you roll them out. So we're just going to get that flour. I'll get Juliana to take a quick look in there. And we're going to also add in our wet ingredients now. So we're going to add in 1 egg. And we're going to add in 1 cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can take regular milk and just add 1 or 2 teaspoons of vinegar to it to make it a sour milk. And I'm just going to slowly add that in while the mixer is mixing until the dough comes together. You can see that coming together nice. This will be a little bit of a wetter dough, and we're going to work with that on our counter. Alright, that actually looks good. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put it on a floured counter and I'll show you the next step in a minute. Alright, so I've got my dough ball and I'm going to pull it out of my mixer. Just make sure you have a floured countertop because this is a stickier dough. And your hands are going to probably stick to the dough as well. So if you just get a little bit of flour on your hands, that'll help. So what we want to do is divide this into 2 balls. Make sure you have your flour down because you don't want to have it all sticking to the counter. Put a little bit of flour on the top so it makes it a little bit easier to handle the dough. And we're just going to flatten that a bit. We're just going to create a circle. And it's probably about 3/4 to 1 inch thick and about, let's see, 7.5 inches or so in diameter. Just going to do both of them right away. I want them to both be about the same size. About 7.5, and you're going to use your bench cutter or your bench scraper, and we're just going to cut this into 8 triangles. It's another one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. I use this for so many different things. And you're going to grease your cookie sheets. So I only put 8 on a cookie sheet because I can't fit all of them. And we're just going to put those on our cookie sheet. Make sure you give yourself enough room. And we're going to bake these in the oven, about 400 degrees. Check it after 15 minutes because my oven is not very hot. So I usually do mine for about 18 minutes, but make sure you check after 15 minutes. We want them to be all nice and golden. I'll show you what that looks like, but we're just going to bake these in the oven 15 to 18 minutes, 400 degrees. So we'll take a look in a minute when they come out of the oven. It's been 15 minutes. I'm just gonna, well, they're coming nice. They need to be a little bit darker. I'm just gonna flip my trays around and top to bottom because my bottom is not quite as warm. Oops, so these ones are quite a bit lighter. I'm gonna put those ones on top. So I'm gonna need probably another 3 minutes and then I'll be pulling these out. You don't want them to get too dark. You want them all just nice and golden. My scones are out of the oven. I've let them cool for a few minutes, about 5 minutes or so before I'm gonna put my glaze on. So you'll need about 1 cup of icing sugar and some orange juice. So 1 tablespoon, maybe a little bit more. You want the nice consistency. I think I need a little bit more in here. Doesn't need much, but you want to be able to drizzle it on top of your scones. So I'll just get this mixed up. You want a nice drizzling consistency without any big lumps in there. Get right down to the bottom. And you're just going to drizzle these on your scones. These freeze very well, so whatever you don't use right away, you can put in the freezer. I like to put parchment paper between my layers so that it's easy to take them out so they don't stick together. And you can just put them in the microwave for 30 seconds so they're all nice and warm again. 30 seconds to a minute. And serve them warm. That's the best way to have these. You can eat them cold, but warm is just so nice. So give these ones a try. They're really good.